What up, y'all? Today, I'm back again with another video, and today's topic is going to be on cohesive control, or it's also called cohesive coercion. Those are kind of difficult words. If you listen to some of my videos, when I say that word, it's so hard to say. But it's hard for me to pronounce. So, yeah, cohesive control. And so it's defined as an act or a pattern of acts of assault, threats, or humiliation and intimidation or abuse that is used to harm, punish, or frighten their victim. Okay. So there's 8 different types of cohesive control. So I want to go over those. And these are ways that the narcissist will use these tactics. And these tactics are part of their construct that they have built. And it's just, it's so weird because we have a natural instincts to do things, but we're humanity. And in humanity, we have constructs like love, hope, joy, faith, long suffering, forgiveness, empathy, and, sympathy and things like that, and remorse for things that we've done. But these guys have different constructs, and the constructs are basically, a lot of times they're going to be the opposite of ours. Because if you notice, everything that you always want to do, they always want the opposite. And I call us mankind, and I call them, they're like the beast system. And I always think of, like, there's humanity, which loves, but then everything outside of that would be considered like, you know how they would call us, God, gee whiz. But, just to call us, like, without love and empathy and stuff, basically the basic concept would be you're kind of going to act like an animal to a degree, right? And I'm not calling the narcissist an animal, but what I am to say is that humanity, man and woman, that are part of the construct of humanity, it's called humanity because we, for a general sense of things, we, generally speaking, are going to run in a construct that is humane to each other, to other individuals. And these guys are inhumane. And it's because of the lack of love that, and love is a very powerful thing. It makes you care about people, even if you don't know them, if they're being injured, if you can help them. I mean, there's so many things. You don't want to be violent to individuals. I mean, unless you had to protect yourself. There's different constructs that we would abide by, and these guys just, they run them right over, and they're the opposite, which I call the beast mode, the beast system. And you always hear this, go beast mode. I'm a savage, all this. I've talked about this a lot. And in the Bible, it would talk about the mark of the beast. And I believe that it is, the mark of the beast is going to, I don't care what people say. I mean, we all have our own opinions, but it's going to be very, very similar to how the narcissist acts and responds. Because why? They're outside of empathy, and also outside of regret and remorse and things like in the way that we do. They have depression and regret in different ways, but not in ways where they will want forgiveness. And that's the only way. Repentance is the only way to change things. Right? Even if it's just repentance for things that you've done and you can't even reach that person, for you to change your way would be repentance. So they have no love and no way to repent, to gather change in their life. So they're stuck. And so the first one that I wanted to go over is of cohesive control, or cohesive coercion, is assault. That's number 1. And so that would be, physical pain, hitting, choking, slapping, kicking, biting, or using weapons, or some sort of exposure to dangerous situations, such as they get you in the car and then they recklessly drive and threaten you, into doing what they say. Now, these are things that narcissists, after they get you under the construct of the trauma bond get you addicted to them, get your hormones out of whack, and get you fully under their control. They're cheating on you, lying to you, doing all kinds of stuff. This is how things tend to look. It's and you know, and these tactics, what those tactics started out, it starts out as fake love, right? Because we're humanity, so if we weren't gonna see the love, we would have walked away a long time ago. But so they got to fake the love, and then once they ensnare you, right? That's what the enemy does. Once they ensnare you, then they're out and they're open about it, and then they push these tactics. This is like the next level. This is the now you're not just addicted to them, but now you're being restrained by them. Okay, so number 2 to cohesive coercion is going to be threats. This could be declarations of impending consequences, like intended to create fear. You know, for instance, like harming things you care about, or people, like you better not do that. Next time you do that, I'm going to send the dog to the dog shelter, and you're never going to see him again. Or, you know, if you do that again, if this doesn't change, then you're going to regret it. You know, that kind of stuff. So those are kind of examples of how they will threaten you. And if you have children, God forbid, you know, they could even threaten things on you in regards to your children, which, I mean, they do often, but, you know, that could be at different levels. Number 3 to this is insults or humiliation, used to break down your self-esteem. You may feel, you know, you can't function without your partner at this point. You know, you may have started out very independent, you know, with a good job, making a lot of money. You had a nice car, you had a good career, you had friends, you had family, everything could have been intact, you know. I mean, most of us had some sort of something that led us to the narcissist or allowed this to happen, but we could still have had good lives and independent, and this, whatever the narcissist sniffed out in us, you know, and you want to find out why you ended up having low boundaries or no boundaries with the narcissist that led up to this, and what enticed you to them, because you don't want it to occur anymore now that you're awake. And so you want to heal those wounds so that you can move on, because they can really utterly devastate and destroy your life and end up in a psych ward. Being in dangerous situations where you're offed, and or you do that kind of self-harm, or anything could happen, man. And so you got to be very careful. But they want to break you down, and so they will also, you know, next is number 3 is insults or humiliation, used to break down your self-esteem. So, you know, they want to make you codependent, right? And then inferior to them. And then when you, they make jokes and at your expense, you know, calling you names, but they are low and degrading names. And sometimes it's behind closed doors, and at some point they could even get overt around certain groups of people that you may, you know, associate with, maybe over time with you and the narcissist as in a relationship together. And they could be toxic individuals as well, and they can do this in front of them or even people in your family and stuff. And they call dog whistling when the narcissist also will be saying something, and it will be kind of like something in a joke or something, but they're really talking to you, and only you and the narcissist know that it was meant for you and to degrade you, but nobody else around you in the group of people would ever catch it. And it's called dog whistling, where they degrade you, or they could make some kind of threat or anything, but they'll do it in a covert kind of way, in and amongst people out loud, to where only you and the narcissist know that it's a threat or intimidation towards you, or making fun of you or degrading you. Number 4 is isolation. Isolation is not being able to verify with others that you're in a relationship that's abusive. So the narcissist will isolate you, a lot of times the grade A supply, because they got a gem, a jewel, the golden, nugget, the center of their fuel matrix. They do not want that piece to disappear on them. They want to continually get fueled by them. So they got to also protect that individual from running away, and protect that, or not really protect, but they're protecting it for their own means. So, and you are it. So they will isolate you. They will get your friends and family away from you, get you to feel like they're the enemy. And so, because they don't want you to get advice from, your friends and family, or any acquaintances or places that, or at, anywhere that they're going to maybe give you advice that, oh, your partner is abusive, unbeknownst to you, maybe because you've been gaslit so bad, but you've been manipulated so bad. Excuses why you can't attend a family event, a social function, and they'll do this over and over again. Like, if you want to go out with your friends, but they're going to come up with excuses and get you to, not go, and not see your family. It'll get to the point to where you'll degrade every relationship you've ever had, and then you'll have nobody when you turn around and they've left you dusted and disgusted. Using guilt to get you to stay home, and make fun of interests you have. Like, if you like to go to the gym or something, they'll make fun of it to the point to where you'll be like, oh, I'm not even enthused about going anymore, or whatever, because the narcissist has made fun of me, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to appease the narcissist here too. And then now I'm going to quit going to the gym, or I'm going to quit doing this function that I like to do. They want you to come completely outside of yourself, so that at some point in time, when you do leave the narcissist, or the narcissist leaves you and you're trying to heal or whatever, it's so difficult because they grabbed you by your soul, and they grabbed it and clenched it. They've messed up your hormones. They've, devastate everything in your life, and they've took everything that you had that was personal about you, that was made you an individual, made you genuine, and they ripped it from you. And so they do this slowly over time, and then when you're away from the narcissist, you don't even know who you are anymore. You have no footprint of anything. It's like, I have a fingerprint, but it's like, is it even mine anymore? Does it even say anything? You're just a dull, hollow individual, and you got to find yourself again. You're still there, but it's very, very depressing. It's very dark, and it's very hard, because there's so many different constructs that they have placed that are evil and demonic and satanic in your life, that they have continued to overlay and overlap and place on top of one over another in and around the terms of I love yous and and all of that, when they don't. So there's activity monitoring what you do throughout the day. This is number 5. They do home surveillance. They remind you that they're always around. Like, I might be stalking you, or I know where you've been, whether they've been there or not. I mean, they're just, sometimes they'll be gaslighting you and telling you a lie, but you don't know, because a lot of times they can prove that they were there, or that they have some information from the insider or something. And so they're tracking you. They're tracking every move on your computer, in your car. They're tracking your phone, because they have all this stuff with technology now. They can really jail you up. And while you're supposed to be in some free country, and nobody else will know it, because they'll act covert out there and be, everybody will love them, and, but behind closed doors, unbeknownst to them, they are, completely and utterly demonic, satanic, and people do not understand what spiritual warfare is anymore, because it's on a covert level most of the time. And so they try to knock down God's chosen, but we're waking up, and we're in a new era, and technology can be used against you, but it can be used for you as well. So use it for you. They could do financial control. Number 6, financial control is, finances that are like scrutinized, and they'll control every penny that you spend and just give you enough money for basic needs. Like if you're going out to the store, you just have just enough money because we're on a budget. We're trying to save or whatever. These kind of things. They'll be scrutinizing every bill and every dollar that you spent. They'll be locking you out of access, or even making you lack access to get out of a situation with a narcissist. If you wanted to run, you couldn't because you have no money. And every dollar you spend, they know right away if you spend it, because they have joint accounts with everything, and there's not anything personable, no personal accounts that you have on your own. You might be restricted to allowance that's almost bare minimum, very, very little, almost nothing. And running up your debt. They may join credit with you, and then they may screw your credit up. So now you're on a budget, a restricted budget. You can't get away from them, but now they've destroyed your credit, and they've ran up bills in your name. And so now you have no money, and now you have maybe no credit, or you may have credit, but you're in debt. So you couldn't get a loan if you wanted to, or whatever, anything. 7 is sexual coercion. So this is like feeling pressure to have sex, or feeling obligated, threatening consequences if you don't engage in that with them. So they'll use even that. They're just low down and dirty in every area of your life at some point. And then you have to deal with that dirt, and you have to back them up. And it's so difficult when it's evil. Sometimes for a time you're gonna find yourself doing these things because that's what you're supposed to do. You're always taught these things. They remove autonomy. Number 8. This is the final one. They take away all your freedom, your of personal choice. So then it gets to a point, and you get so degraded that it gets to a point to where now they're dismissing your feelings. They don't count anymore because you're just a piece of crap. And then you've been beat down so bad that you even feel like you're a piece of crap. So then you're believing it now. You're believing the gaslighting, because they built so many constructs of negativity, one on top of another, that you don't know what to do anymore. They make you outside yourself. That's why I always say these constructs are not physical. They're not psychological. They're not just personality orders or disorders. They're this is spiritual. It's spiritual first, and it may become also psychological secondary too, but that's not the primary problem here. The primary problem here is they let some evil, demonic, or satanic spirit into their life, or they are satanic in origin, unbeknownst to us, just cloaked in humanity. And I don't neglect the fact that could be possibly true, like as if a fallen angel in human form may be forced to reincarnate here forever and ever, over and over, until the day of judgment as well, to where they will be, blotted out forever. But they will, they will do things that they will change your products. Like if you like a hair care product, they may change it out, and theirs is far superior, so you can't use this anymore. And I'm making the decision. So whatever you loved, you can't use it, because all of a sudden they're taking over, and they know what's best for you, And this is really, I have to say, being a woman, this would be much worse. I mean, I'm a man, and I used to say that my ex-wife, if I was a woman and she was the man, she would have kicked my ass. And I don't doubt that for a minute. But because I was a man, she wouldn't touch me, because I mean, she just knows that it just, I wouldn't allow that. I mean, I wouldn't have beat her back, but she just would know better that, I mean, but women are manipulative, sometimes on levels to where it's more even more destructive in the spirit and the psychological side of things. And so they are, but in women dealing with men, oh my God, you got to deal with the physical problems too, where, a lot of men are, that are evil, man. I don't know. I mean, and they can overpower a woman, and I don't neglect that they do that kind of stuff. I mean, you hear about it a lot. I've heard a lot of people that I've known over the years that have told me that they've dealt with physical abuse and rape trauma and stuff like that. A lot. So I guess people just felt comfortable telling me, because I'm just kind of like, I'm here to listen. A lot of times I've always, and I speak the truth, man. So, and your secret would be safe with me in cases like stuff like that and everything. But anyway, they, regulate your sleep, and they regulate your bathroom activities because they want to make sure you're not sneaking around trying to get away from them. Who you talking to? What are you doing? When they're the ones doing all the evil stuff, you see. So this is what coercive control is, or coercion. And these are things, this is not something that they train to do as much as, in my humble opinion, it becomes instinctive, but it's built off these demonic or satanic constructs that are built in and within them, or whatever evil spirit houses them comes with this construct. But these are same constructs that you'll find in a lot of narcissism is used in the CIA and the FBI, when you have spies and things. I mean, they use this same book a lot of times. And so you gotta be, careful when you're in these relationships and you wake up, because depending on what level of a narcissist you're with, or the entity, the level of the demonic or satanic entity or whatever you're dealing with, in them, you don't want to, you can't put anything past them. And I honestly believe, like, probably humanity in general is not that evil, outside the cloak of narcissism. I think a lot of the stuff that happens in the world today, they look like us, but they're not us. And unbeknownst to most people in the world, they don't believe it, even if we were to tell them. People don't believe in narcissism unless you've dealt with it. I mean, on most cases, generally speaking, because, I mean, it's almost like vampirism, real witches and warlocks and astral projection, and, I mean, energy theft and soul ties. And this is really what they're doing. They're linking up to you, and that's why they always say you're an extension of them, because all of these things that I just went over, these are things that make them connected to you, and you become an extension of them. Here's your arm. Now there's their arm connected to your arm, and you're going to do what they tell you because you're a tool for them to get stuff done, and you don't get to think. They do all the thinking, and you do all the orchestration based on their thinking and their construct. So that's why you also can become more corrupted or worn out, because you're not built to be corrupt. So now it's wearing you out. Because, so it's crazy stuff, man. And it's very, very spiritual. The energy transference and all of the things, the stalking, when you start to see black eyes, faces. Some people have talked about voices. I have heard a demonic voice before in an individual, and it is not from this world, but it was at church. It wasn't somebody that I had known or even dated, but I'm telling you, man, it was cringy. But in the faces I saw when I unmasked the narcissist that I was dating at the time, and they're really into a lot of times Ouija boards, they're into ghost hunting, and they're into spiritual seances and things that got them tied up and opened doorways and portals to these things getting into them and corrupting their soul all the way down to its core. And well, so they don't love, but they connect soul ties, cords, and their energy to you, and then they hijack you. And this is kind of what some of the hijacking looks like. 25 minutes. I gotta go. I'm sorry. Y'all, give me a like, a subscription, a thumbs up. I love y'all. Peace out, soldier up, stand tall, and I love all y'all. Peace.